myself in our time. Got no woman here to tell me not to. Sounds kind of depressing, but I'm happy. Let's go. Yep. Alright, let's. Yo, is that light on?
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the.
Okay. Hi, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I mean, you didn't see nothing. That didn't really happen. I got allergies, so like that's what the tissue is for. And then the lotion,
Stupid.
Can I get a little bit up? Can I get a little bit up? Or really just a little bit up? Can I get a little bit up? Can I get a little bit up? Or really just a little bit up? I need you, I need you. I need you, I need you, girl. I need.
Hello and welcome to a brand new series that I just came up with at the top of my dome because I was bored and I wanted to record something. Give you guys some content, be a great content creator. That sounds, never mind. Alright, so I decided to come up with Scary Time Saturdays. Yes, this sounds very, very menacing. No, it doesn't. Yeah, but so tonight, that's about right. Tonight we will be reacting to some scary animations that from a special channel that I found called Mort. I will leave a link to his page in the description below, but I don't want to keep you all waited. I've been trying to do this for a while now. I've just been, avoiding it because I hate scary. I hate all kinds of scary. You would never catch me just voluntarily doing something that has to do with anything scary. Oh, by the way, I got a green screen now, so more videos with that. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you get notified every single time I post. Remember, it's absolutely free. If you change your mind later, it is okay. Just go ahead and unsubscribe. Nah, don't unsubscribe. That's gonna hurt my feelings. Yeah. So whether you are ready or not, it does not matter because we're gonna do this anyway. Let's do this. Alright, so the video that we chose is 4 Airbnb horror stories animated. Well, this is the video that I chose. So let's get into this.
I'm a 23-year-old male. I used to work for Airbnb as one of their contracted employees as their Tier 1 customer service. For those that don't know, Airbnb is a hospitality service where every day people can rent out their homes and apartments either partially or entirely to people as an alternative to renting a hotel. It's a rather nice idea, although it's in a legal gray area because while there are no laws preventing it, there are no laws guaranteeing your rights as a tenant either.
I completely agree with that because although the Airbnb that we stayed at was really, really nice, I still low-key don't trust it because you never know what could happen when you're staying at an Airbnb. But I mean, hey, that's why you gotta be 100% careful and don't just choose any Airbnb. You need to make sure that it is 100% safe and always go with friends because you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught slipping. We don't need no missing children, missing teenagers, missing college students, whoever decides to go into Airbnb.
Was signing a lease or a home mortgage would grant you. If your host decides to cancel your reservation, your contract is considered null and void in our eyes, and you must leave the property, or you can be arrested for trespassing if the host wishes to press charges. I had totaled my car when I hit a patch of black ice in a previous snowstorm, slid into a curb, and snapped my front suspension on the left side of my car. So I was forced to take the light rail to work for the time being. Luckily, I live right next to a light rail station, and my work was within 1/4 of a mile from another. I called into the office and told them that I would be late because I had just wrecked my car, and thankfully they understood. I arrived an hour later, and my chair was snapping between two girls who had been chatting away in an attempt to get them to quiet down and pay attention. Needless to say, it didn't really work because the girl to my right, Lily, would just lean forward and talk as if I weren't even there. The girl to my left, Amy, would do the same, and it was hard to pay attention to the instructor. There was another girl there, Susan, sitting to the right of Lily, who would try to join in on the conversations, but was just not very effective, even though she had the most boisterous voice in the room.
Boisterous.
I'm pretty sure the two girls were just ignoring her mostly, as her comments seemed forced.
I've never heard boisterous before. What does boisterous mean? What does boisterous mean? Hold on, I'm about to look this up. A person or event or behavior, noisy, energetic, and cheerful, rowdy. Okay. Makes sense. Alright.
And you could tell she had no idea what she was talking about, and just came across as pretentious and rude. During our first break, our conversation returned to relationships.
Why do they all look so slouchy? Like, they all look groggy and like, this is a very depressing... What type of Airbnb is this? Like, what? Are they at the Airbnb yet? I lost track. I'm sorry. They all look like that sloth from what's that movie? Sing? Is it Sing or is it no, it's not Sing. It's Zootopia. Yeah, they all look like the sloth from Zootopia. They all look so depressed.
Lily was single, but was crushing on our trainer. Amy was engaged, and I was dating a girl whom I had a crush on since I was 12 and had plans to propose to in the coming months. They both helped me plan out my proposal, things to do and things to avoid, and I'm pretty sure were more excited for me than I was. While we were talking in the front lobby, Susan comes up and hijacks the conversation. "I have a boyfriend too," she said.
Nobody asked you.
He's 28 and has his own house and drives a Mustang. For context, Susan is 20, and I'm not judging her for dating someone 8.
See, she reminds me of all the people that just want to be, like, they want to make it sound like they have, like, the best of everything. And he has the largest dick in the world, too. Stupid ass.
Years older than her, but the more questions we asked, the more it seemed she just made this guy up. Now, these weren't malicious questions, but genuine questions trying to get a better idea of who she was dating and just trying to be nice. "Well, he's not exactly my boyfriend. He's married, but he says he's just waiting on the divorce papers to finalize, and then I can move in with him."
Oh, okay.
She rattled on.
She's one of those.
I became more and more uncomfortable with this girl. As she started talking about her boyfriend, she would glance over at me, give me a once-over, and then continue talking as if nothing happened. It made every hair on my body stand on end. I am a firm believer that there has to be some sort of physical attraction between two people for the relationship to work out. And even if I were single, I was not attracted to this girl in any way, shape, or form. After the end of our training day, I started to make my way to the light rail station. There was about 2 feet of snow on the ground, so Amy offered to give me a ride home as I lived on her way.
She gotta have back problems. What the hell? Look at how she's slouching. Oh my gosh.
I greatly appreciated the offer and offered to fill up her gas tank beforehand as payment. Susan jumped in and asked for a ride as well, to the light rail station right by my house. Amy offered to drop her off at the light rail station just up the road, but Susan insisted on being dropped off at the one by my place. I didn't think anything of it at first, but I would be lying if I didn't say that it seemed too much of a coincidence that she wanted to be dropped off right at the one right next to my house, where there was another one so much closer. I was dropped off at my leasing office as I didn't want anyone to know exactly where I lived, and my roommate and I decided to order pizza instead of going out in the snow, and I wanted to drown my sorrows in something as I had just lost my car. 45 minutes go by as we wait for the pizza.
What brand of pizza? It literally just says pizza. That box is as flat. Never mind.
I understood that it would take a little longer to get here as the weather conditions were terrible and whatnot. The pizza arrives and he hands me something else. A letter he said was sitting on our doormat when he arrived. I was intrigued as we had just moved in not more than a month ago and hadn't met any of our neighbors yet, so perhaps it was something from them. I wish I hadn't opened it. It was a letter from Susan. The envelope was covered in hearts and the initials J and S were in one of the hearts with an arrow through it. How did she know what building I lived in, I thought to myself, let alone apartment number? I tore the letter to pieces and threw it away without a second thought. In hindsight, it was a stupid idea, but I wasn't anticipating what would happen
Homie,
next.
you got a stalker.
The next day at work, Susan approached me and asked, "Did you get the present I left for you yesterday?" My only response was, "How did you find out where I lived?" "I used my admin credentials to access your test listing you created yesterday in training. I hope that's okay."
Oh,
she
she
said,
hopes that's okay.
trying to act all shy and innocent. It's not. What is wrong with you? I swear to God, if you ever come to my house again, I won't hesitate to call the cops."
Oh my goodness.
I was livid.
You've been doing a lot of crack,
huh? Gross invasion of my privacy. She knew I had a girlfriend and had plans to propose soon. 2 weeks went by and Susan would constantly come up while I was talking with Lily and Amy, insert herself into our conversation, and turn them into conversations about her and her boyfriend and all the kinky sex that they have now that the divorce papers were finalized. I'm not one to judge people's fetishes or sex lives, but I really don't care to hear about all the dirty details, especially at work. Not to mention, our conversations were nothing along the lines to begin with. We would talk about relationships, yeah, but the topic of sex never came up. Susan would constantly message me on Google Hangouts, as that is what we used to get in contact with each other on the production floor, as our phones were not allowed because we have access to our users' personal information. The address, last 4 digits of their credit card or bank account, depending on if they were a host or a guest. So that was our only method of communication while at work. She would send me messages like, "I'm sorry, please forgive me," and "I just really like you and didn't know how to tell you. Can we just start over?"
Dude, that's a red flag right there. You need to block her and send her on her way, bro. Like that's a big X.
I would ignore these messages, and I eventually ended up blocking her altogether since the messages became much more aggressive as time went on.
Come on now.
"Why don't you like me? Is it because I'm fat, isn't it? Why won't you answer me? I'd let you do anything you wanted to me. Just say the word, I'll come over.
She's a freak.
What's your problem? Any guy would be lucky to have me. And the most disturbing of them all, I'll just tell them you raped me if you won't let me come over tonight." I blocked her after that.
She trying to take your life away, homie. She used the R word. You don't use the R word.
And went to HR with my complaints. I told HR about her stalking and using her admin privileges to access my personal information. And at first, nothing happened.
Yo, does
I was
everybody
brushed
have
off and
bad
was told
posture?
the usual, "Oh, it's just a girl crush, she'll get over it." And, in a way, you should be flattered. After all, guys can't be the victim of sexual harassment, right? 1 more month goes by and I was actually promoted to Tier 2. Not really a promotion, they made me go, and I wasn't even getting paid more for the transition, even though it included much more responsibilities, such as mediation between hosts and guests, involving their disputes. All 4 of us, Amy, Lily, and Susan, were all put on separate teams, thank God. But she would follow me to the drinking fountain and would just stand behind me, then go sit back down after I left.
What'd she just do? Hold on. She just leaned forward and sniffed his back, bro. She's like, "You smell good. You smell like a virgin."
Stand. 2 weeks later, I get
Ooh,
called
that
into
smile,
HR's
though.
office.
He got
I
that. I just
breathe a
got
sigh
laid.
of relief and think this is
Maybe he's
finally
just
over. I was wrong. I've been told that Susan has filed charges of sexual assault against me, saying I tried to rape her in the bathroom. I was dumbfounded. I asked them what proof they had, and they said they don't need any, and her word is good enough.
What?
After all, why would someone lie about something like that, right? I'd have every reason to try to hide something like that, while Susan is brave for coming forward. I tried to leave, but security stopped me at the door. I pushed past them and said, I know for a fact that these rent-a-cops can't charge me for anything, so until that happens, I'll be at my desk. They let me go and I ran back to my desk, hoping that by blocking Susan on Hangouts, the messages weren't deleted as well. Thank God they weren't. I had been taking screenshots of everything she had sent me over the past 3 months, and 2 police officers showed up about 10 minutes later. As they were putting handcuffs on me, I shouted at them, My computer screen! Look at my computer screen! All eyes were on me. The 250 people on the production floor had stopped.
It does not take that long to put cuffs on something. That man is doing a little something more back there. You know what I'm saying? He ain't putting cuffs on him.
Stopped talking. Most of them put their customers on hold so they could see what was going on. One of the police officers sat down at my desk and started looking over the messages. After what seemed like an eternity, he gets up and says, Let him go. They bring Susan over and the same police officer looks her dead in the face and says, I want the truth. Did this guy rape you? She nodded her head and the police officer replied, Really? So care to explain this message you sent 2 months ago, stating that you were going to say he raped you if he didn't let you come over to his house? She started crying, tried to say it wasn't true and that I had been the one making sexual advances towards her when she wasn't interested. Thank God the cop wasn't buying it. He said, Young lady, we have all the evidence we need right here to disprove your claims. However, if you still insist that he raped you, we can investigate. Keep in mind that if it's found out that you were lying, you'll be in a lot more trouble than he is right now.
You tell her.
She insisted that I raped her yesterday in the woman's bathroom, so I was officially arrested and brought in for questioning at the police station. They did a rape kit on her, and the cops asked for a DNA sample to compare it to the rape kit sample they took. I, of course, gave it to them and spent the next 2 days in jail. My family was notified, but I informed them that there was no point in spending the money on bail as I knew I was innocent. On the 3rd day, I was released. No charges were being filed against me as Susan admitted that she had made the whole thing up.
Then why'd y'all arrest him in the
I was
first
asked if
place?
I wanted to press charges for the false accusation and try to get a defamation case against her. I declined and was happy that she had been fired and settled for a restraining order. My girlfriend ended up breaking up with me because of all this, saying that she can never trust me again even though I was found innocent.
Yo, that's tough, bro. You lost your girl even though you was innocent? She must have been fucking somebody. She was hoping your ass was gonna get locked away.
On the bright side, I was able to return the ring and put the funds towards a new car. My lease ended a few months later, and I moved across town, got a new job, and pray every day that I never see her again. A few years ago, my partner and I moved from the East Coast to the Pacific Northwest. We didn't know anyone in the city. We just saved up a decent chunk of money and hopped on a plane. It was exciting, and we certainly haven't regretted it. The plan was to stay at hostels and cheap hotels until we could find work in an apartment. Finding work was actually quite easy for us, so we had new jobs within a week of getting off the plane. Finding somewhere to live, though...
Yo, it's harder in the second story. Hold on, wait. The next video we are watching today is called The Roommate Animated. And it comes from a channel called Llama Arts, which I've seen a few of their videos, and I believe like they got some bangers. So let's go ahead and figure this, or let's check this one out. Let's go.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN. More details at the end. Looking for a new roommate is always a daunting task. Even though you interview and take the time to get to know that person, you don't truly find out who they are until you start living with them. I had begun searching for a roommate after I decided to leave my current residency. I was contacted a couple of hours after placing an ad on the Facebook Marketplace. The message read,
I'm not gonna lie, having a roommate isn't a bad idea. Like, it's a great way to, like, to share on bills, and just makes things a little bit easier. But sometimes it's like, people are crazy. So you gotta be careful when looking for a roommate, man. I suggest someone that you already know, that you could trust. Don't just be looking online for random roommates, man. You're literally asking to get sliced up.
Hey Chris, I'll be moving out of my current apartment this August, and I'm looking to room with someone new, as my roommates are moving to California this year. I'm 27 and I'm currently going to school. When I'm not at school, I enjoy hiking and watching movies. I also apprentice at a taxidermy shop on the days I don't have class. Hope that's not weird.
What?
It's always been a fun hobby of mine. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. Have a great day, Lunaire.
my first...
Hold on. She apprentices at a taxidermy shop? Bro, that's a no-go. Don't select that.
First and most obvious reaction after reading the message was to check her profile. She was of medium height, had long, messy blonde hair and green eyes. In her profile picture, I saw her standing with a man and a woman shoulder to shoulder. They each adorned goofy grins and held up peace signs. Under the photo, the caption read, "Love my roommates." I smiled to myself and decided to send her a message back. The sun beat down on us as we hoisted various objects to the second floor of our new apartment. It took us a couple days to get everything out of the moving trucks and into our new place, but as soon as we did, a wave of relief washed over our sweat-drenched and sore bodies. After a couple more hours of rearranging, we each grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat on the porch.
Beer. Yeah, that's
we
all.
reminisced about old 90s cartoons and what video games we obsessed over as kids. And as the sun started to set, I truly felt relaxed and confident that things were going to work out. A week later, I started a new job for a construction company that was owned by a good friend of mine. As I was getting ready, I heard the front door swing open. I walked into the living room to see Lunaire and her friend David sliding in a large box. "What you got there?" I asked. Through a strained grunt, she replied,
I bought a freezer to store some of the animals I'm planning on using in my taxidermy work. I hope that's alright.
Bro,
I was
still feel like
obviously
that's
hesitant at
sketchy.
first, as there was no mention of this happening in the first place, but I eventually accepted and returned to my room to continue getting ready for work. I came home at around 9 p.m. after having a couple of beers with friends and noticed that the freezer was nestled snugly in the lower part of the pantry. A low hum could be heard reverberating off of the inner walls. I was curious to see what was inside, but didn't want to intrude on Lunaire's business, so I went into my room and changed into...
That's a smart man. What? Don't get in her business, bro. She probably... I don't trust her. I don't say you can trust her, but I don't trust her.
more comfortable clothing. After changing, I came back out into the kitchen and started making a sandwich. I opened the fridge and grabbed what I needed. As I turned around, I stubbed my toe on the edge of the island countertop and let out a long, exasperated grunt.
Oh, hell no. I felt
Through my
that.
frustration-
I felt that, bro. You know how many times I've stubbed my toe just walking through the house?
From top to bottom. Wow! Oh, my foot! What? She just put a rock in a bath! Can't you see I got a foot here? Oh!
This is why you always turn on lights, bro. Oh, bro, my toe hurts now.
I slammed the fridge door shut and checked my toe to see if there was any bleeding. As I raised my head back up, I was greeted by a shadowy figure.
Oh, fuck.
Lunaire was standing in the doorway leading to her room. The darkness behind her almost seemed to envelop her.
Is everything okay?
She said in a deadpan tone. "Shit, yeah, I'm sorry. I just slammed my toe into the corner of the countertop as I was making a sandwich. I hope I didn't wake you,"
It's fine.
she said, in the same deflated tone as before.
The hell?
She then turned around and walked back into the darkness of her room. I could tell that she was pissed, so I quietly made my sandwich and retreated back to my room as well, only hearing the low hum from the freezer as I closed my door.
Bro. She
I had
possessed.
the next day off, so I was able to sleep in a little longer than usual. When I finally emerged from my room, I walked into the kitchen to make breakfast. As I opened the refrigerator, I noticed that the light wasn't turning on and there was a lack of cold air escaping from inside. I turned around and flipped the light switch to confirm my suspicion. Sure enough, the power was out.
Huh.
Damn it, I muttered under my breath. I walked over to Lunaire's room and knocked on her door to tell her about the power outage if she didn't already know, but there was no answer. I then remembered that she had classes that day and probably wasn't home. I walked back to the kitchen and past the pantry. As I did, I slipped on the floor but was able to catch myself on the countertop.
What the?
What the? I angrily exclaimed as I looked down at the floor trying to figure out what I had slipped on. It was blood. It had started to leak from the corner of the freezer and pool onto the floor.
That's nasty.
I quickly tried to open the freezer to find out the cause of the viscous liquid, but then I noticed that it had a padlock attached to it.
That's nasty.
I don't remember seeing that before. I ran out to my car and grabbed my toolbox from the back seat. I approached the freezer and set my tools down on the nearby countertop. I then pulled out a small pair of bolt cutters and snapped through the metal of the padlock. It fell to the ground with a large thud. I creaked open the top of the freezer and was greeted with a putrid stench that permeated my nostrils. I quickly pinched my nose and walked away gagging in response. I guess I should have realized that was gonna happen, I muttered to myself in between gags. After gaining my composure, I grabbed some gloves from under the sink and started taking inventory. I could see a couple of dead birds and plastic bags wedged into the corners of the freezer. I took each bag out and set them in the trash can nearby. That's when I noticed that the blood was coming from the corner of the larger black bag. I don't know why, but I decided to open the top of the bag and peer inside. I was greeted by large, milky white eyes,
Whoa.
a swollen black
I
tongue
told you.
surrounded by cracked and bloated
you.
lips, and the matted hair of a human head. I swiftly dropped the bag and
Can't
fell
trust
backwards
these
on the
hoes,
floor.
bro.
My breathing had ceased to exist, and I grabbed the trash can next to me and expelled my disgust into
The
it.
second she said taxidermy, I would
I
have.
then ran out the
hell
door,
no, bro.
got into my car, and called the police. As I sat in the interrogation room with a blanket over my shoulders, I couldn't help but think about the face I'd seen. It looked so familiar. That's when it finally hit me. I pulled out my phone and looked at Lunaire's profile picture. It was her old roommate.
Yo!
She said was moving to California. When the detective entered the room, she started the questioning process, asking me if I started noticing any weird behavioral occurrences around the apartment. Yeah, I stubbed my toe the other day and she creepily stood in the doorway. It seemed like she was pissed, but for some reason I had a strange feeling like she was concerned about something. That's when I connected the dots. She didn't come out into the kitchen because she heard me stub my toe. She came out into the kitchen because she thought I slammed the freezer instead of the fridge. A cold sweat started to form on my forehead as my surroundings became blurred. I could hear a low whine slowly starting to cover up the words of concern from the detective. As my vision started to clear, I could see another officer enter the room and whisper something into her ear as he handed her a piece of paper. "Do you have somewhere you could stay at?" she asked. I mean, I was planning on staying with my parents. They live about 30 minutes outside of town. Okay, she paused. Listen, I don't want to worry you, but we found this picture inside of your apartment. She slid the piece of paper across the table, and I immediately felt like someone kicked me in the chest. The head of Lunaire's other roommate sat on the chair. In the background, scrawled on the wall in blood, read, "Love my roommates. All of them."
She's wild, bro. Hell no. See, the second it said taxidermy, you should have known not to mess with her, bro. Stupid. This last one is called The Bridge. It is also from Llama Arts, and well, I don't know what it's about, so let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Yeah, they got plushies. That's hard.
So this story takes place when I was about 16 years old. At my school, I played for the volleyball team, and every year we would go to a camp and do volunteer work for this guy. The camp was in the middle of nowhere. When we got to the camp...
For this guy? Who's this guy? You ain't got no name for him? That sounds sketchy.
We immediately started to work until 8 p.m. This was around October, so it was already dark at 8. My two friends and I were sitting around the fire, trying to figure out something we could do so we weren't so bored. We heard that there was a small river down the hill from the camp, and we thought we could check it out. The problem is that it was some guy's property, and the owner of the camp told us to not disturb him since the guy was a little strange. We weren't really supposed to leave the camp, but being 16 years old, we loved breaking the rules.
Obviously,
we walked about 10 minutes from the camp
now.
and finally reached the river. It was bigger than we expected, and there was a large wooden bridge that crossed it. The bridge was about 20 feet long and was big enough to let a truck go over it. My two friends and I decided to go under the bridge and check it out.
What?
As we were walking by the shoreline, we saw two headlights off in the distance moving towards the bridge, so we bolted underneath it and hid. We then heard the truck roll over our heads and to the other side.
That bridge does not look sturdy.
My friends and I chilled there for a while, just talking and throwing rocks in the water. It was about 8:30 at this time.
No, look at
Now
that,
it was pretty
man.
much
That bridge
pitch
does not look sturdy. You can't tell me ain't no truck driving over that without it collapsing. What?
black. That's when we started to hear a slow rumble in the distance. The same truck had come back, and this time it was moving much slower. We stayed put under the bridge, stifling our laughter. Eventually, the truck moved over the bridge, but rather than going over to the other side, the truck stopped right on top of us. The only thing you could hear was the rushing water and the hum of the engine. Then, the door of the truck swung open, and out came a loud thump on top of the bridge. Then we heard a loud scream saying,
"I know you're out there! I'm gonna find you!"
What?
I looked at my friends, and they were both shaking in fear. This must have been the crazy property owner, and he seemed pissed that we were on his land. He started screaming and saying he was going to hurt us if he finds us. We could see that he had a flashlight, and he was swinging it around looking for us. We heard loud thumps as he walked around a little bit, calling out for us, and thank God he never went under the bridge. Eventually, it went silent, and it sounded as if he went back into his truck. I was too terrified to move. We sat there for about 10 minutes, and then my one friend, who we'll call Trevor, whispered in my ear, saying that we have to go. I gave him a quick nod, and in slow motion we moved out from under the bridge. We started to army crawl on the shoreline of the river, and I remember looking behind me to see the top of the bridge. I saw a white Ford F-150. In the driver's seat was the man, staring right at me with a sinister smile, and he even gave me a little wave. At
Yo,
that
he
moment, I
never
screamed
left.
and ran. My friends saw me run and took off after me. I could hear screaming from behind us. I took a quick glance behind me and saw that he was chasing after us, and I couldn't
Oh, hell
make out the object in his
no!
hand, but it seems to be a weapon of some sort. We ran into the forest and ducked behind a bush. It was pitch black in the forest, and we couldn't hear a thing.
He about to
We
slice
sat there
y'all
for a
up.
while, just shaking. The man never walked by us, and we never heard him. After we gathered our courage, we got up and walked back to camp, got into our tents, and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, we talked to the camp owner about the man that owned the property of the river. The camp owner said that he didn't know much about the man, but he knows that he has some mental problems and he'd been accused of assault. I am
He was
so
about to
happy
kill him.
that we were able
That's
to
murder.
escape from underneath the bridge.
That's more than
I can't
assault.
imagine what would have happened if he caught us.
What do you think would have happened if he caught you? You would have been D.I. You'd have been die. You'd have been dead. Yo, shout out to Llama Arts and Mort for their fantastic videos that I just watched today. I will leave a link to both of their channels in the description below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can get notified every single time I post. Again, remember, it is absolutely free. If you change your mind at any time, I will be fine. I'll be a little sad, but I'll be fine. Yo, tell me what you enjoyed about this video, like on the real. I will see you in the next video. Peace.